Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Sportslook, the sports television program for the High Plains of West Texas and Eastern New Mexico. I'm your host, Doc Elder, and just like Cheech and Chong, I've got a basketball Jones. And as such, we're going to have Brent Owen, the head coach of Greyhound men's basketball. We're going to have Megan De Los Reyes, the head coach of Greyhound women's basketball. We'll have a high school spotlight featuring Andres and Kiki. I'll finish up with an overtime, but as always, I'll start out with an Eastern recap. Greyhound Rodeo competed at Sul Ross last weekend. The Greyhound ladies finished in 10th place. Greyhound soccer, another heartbreaking loss, 1-0 decision to Angelo State. Greyhound volleyball had some moments, but unfortunately dropped 2 home matches over the weekend. And the Greyhound football team took number 14 Midwestern State into overtime before losing 31-24. Well, that has been your Eastern recap, so we'll clear the set and we'll bring on our first guest, Brent Owen, right now. Welcome back to Sportslook, and we welcome back to the set of Sportslook the head coach of Greyhound men's basketball, Brent Owen. And Coach, if I'm chomping at the bit for the start of the basketball season, I can only imagine how excited you are.
Very excited, very excited. Good to finally be at a place where we know we're going to play some games. And last year was a long, difficult year for us and for a lot of other people too. But yeah, our guys are excited, especially the guys who went through what we went through last year. They're chomping at the bit. I'm chomping at the bit. They're bringing great energy. In our workouts right now, you can tell they're fired up and ready to go. So we're certainly excited.
How did you keep the kids invested for that long a period of time?
I don't know, Doc. that was difficult, especially as a first-year coach. You're trying to develop trust, and that was a difficult task. That was something I'm sure I'll look back on in my career as one of the most difficult things that we ever did. But the big thing with me, the way we coach and the way our staff coaches is, we talk about coaching with love. We don't coach with fear. We coach with love. We really try to build relationships. We spend a lot of time in individual meetings with guys, just kind of checking their temperature, where they were at, if they're doing okay mentally, and feel like we did a good job of retaining guys who are going to be important players for us this year, and also bringing in new guys for to add to those guys.
Yeah, the last time we had you on, we talked about some of the returning players. We talked about Jose and Garrick and a few of the others. But now we have a chance to actually talk about the new guys that are going to be joining your club.
Yeah, we signed 5 new guys, 2 freshmen, 3 transfers. We signed Junior Hodnett out of Rio Rancho High School. He signed with us in the fall. A great shooter, great young man that the people in Portales will really grow to like. We signed another freshman point guard, Kentrell Polian. 6-foot, really tough guard out of Benton Harbor in Michigan. He played for a 17-3 team. He was a first-team All-State kid in Michigan, and he has been a surprising treat to watch play so far. He is tough as nails and really plays hard, can really score, can really distribute. So I think he can be a great player here for 4 years. We signed 3 transfers. We'll start off with Adam Hess. He came out of UTEP. He's a 6'6" shooting guard. Really shoots the ball. We were running a drill today. We were kind of working on a play that we're going to run with about 8 seconds on the shot clock. If our offense isn't getting us much, we got to kind of transition into this set. And it's basically where he has the option to come off a single screen or a double screen. And he was a lot to deal with today in practice, making shots coming off those screens. James Jordan is another Division I transfer from Kent State University. James is a 6'6" point guard. He can play off the ball as well. Great length defensively, can really handle the ball. He can shoot, make shots off the dribble, which is something we really needed. And another just great young man. And then finally, Jaquan Morris was a Blinn Community College transfer, averaged about 16 points a game there. Made 63s and made over 100 free throws at Blinn. So he's a guy that can get to the rim or beat you from outside. He's super athletic, can really play above the rim, and that'll give him a lot of ability on the defensive end for us. So really excited about that group to go along with the pieces that we bring back, and so far those 2 groups are. I just feel like we have great young men, and they're really meshing together well. They're bought in, and we've seen some encouraging signs so far.
It's interesting, back in the days when Sean Scanlon was the head men's basketball coach at Eastern, and Eastern was winning back-to-back South Division championships, I asked him in a Sportslook episode, and I said, what's the first stat you look at? And he said rebounding. That if there's a 5 rebound difference, he thinks that there's a pretty good chance. If you got a 10 rebound, I mean, you're going to win like 90% of those games. Yeah. So what's the first stat you look at?
I would also say rebounding. Yeah, that was something we really prided ourselves on at Southern Indiana, where I came from. I believe we led the league in rebound margin, like 7 out of the 9 years that I was coaching there. So that is the first thing that I'm going to look at. Are we rebounding? And then the next stat that I'm going to look at is assist to turnover ratio. Are we moving the ball, and are we taking care of the ball? And so that's kind of the rebounds come. Obviously you're going to get more rebounds if you're getting more stops. So that's kind of a measure not only of are you going to get the ball, but are you stopping them defensively? Are you doing a good enough job there? And then offensively is where the assisted turnover comes in. Do we have good ball movement? Are we getting multiple people involved? And are we taking care of it? Because if you can't win the turnover battle, you usually can't win the game either. So that's a very important stat I look at not only during the games, but also when we're recruiting guys. To have a motion team, you got to have guys that know how to take care of the ball. So that's been an important thing for us.
And to show you I pay attention and I have a pretty good memory, last year I had you on and I was asking what was the really surprising thing about the team, and you said you were surprised they couldn't throw an entry pass to the left. And so, are we able this year to throw an entry pass?
We recruited 2 lefties, so that helps a little bit. but beyond that, we've worked a ton on passing and just delivering the ball with timing and pace. And I just think that they've got more of a mindset now of how important it is to deliver the ball here to a shooter rather than over here or up here, where they can just get right into the rhythm of their shot. And passing is a big deal, and I just think they needed to pay a little bit more attention to detail with it, and they have.
Well, Coach, for people that may not be familiar with the rules of NCAA Division II, you've been able to work with them as individuals. When can you start working with them as a team, and when is the first time that we'll be able to see your team or listen to your team in action?
Yeah, so we actually, the rules changed a few years back, and we can actually do some teamwork right now. So we have 4 hours a week, and we use that the first couple of weeks to still do some individuals, because I still think skill development is really important. So we were doing shooting, passing, ball handling, that sort of thing the first couple of weeks. And then we started moving into, okay, 2 days a week, we're going to go for an hour of individual work. 2 days a week, we're going to start doing some team stuff. And now we've actually transitioned to where we're using all 4 of those hours to do teamwork. So we've been basically having 1 hour practices 4 days a week. And then they also are going to the weight room 4 days a week. And then they've been doing some, I don't know if you guys have seen the lights on at the football field at 9 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but they've been out there getting a little taste of what that field looks like and feels like on their feet. So we've got that at 9 o'clock tonight. They're going to get some extra running in. So we are kind of combining all that. It's a lot of conditioning right now, 4 hours of team stuff. My objective right now is to basically teach everything at least once. And so that once we have full practice time, when we can really dive in and make sure things are honed in and tightened up, they've at least already seen everything once, such as like our ball screen defense, our transition offense, some rebounding drills that we do, things like that. They've already learned them at least once. Now, once practice hits, it's boom, boom, boom. We can get into things. They've already seen it. They remember. But now we can really tighten it up and make sure they're becoming really, really good at it.
And if memory serves me from conversations I've had with you, the first opportunity that you're going to get to play a team that's got different colored jerseys is going to be the University of Arizona.
Yeah, they're called the Wildcats. Or
something.
I heard of them somewhere. But we're going to go to Tucson, and a great opportunity for our team. We were really working hard on trying to. Exhibition games are hard to get now, especially exhibition games in that type of environment, and because everybody wants the opportunity to play there, and the paycheck's pretty good too. So we were very fortunate to get that game. Coach Vo actually did a great job of he was really working hard tracking those games down and got them to pull the trigger on us versus several other options. So we're looking forward to that game, and that'll be a great it'll be a great experience for our guys and kind of a good feel for probably some things we need to work on. But hopefully we can give them a run for their money and see what happens. And then I can go ahead and tell you our schedule's not released yet, but I can go ahead and tell you November 13th and 14th we're going to play in the pit at the University of New Mexico. We're going to play. Our opening game will be against Fort Lewis College up there. And then we will play New Mexico Highlands University the following day on that Sunday. Both of those games will be at 1 p.m. And then that's already, you can already kind of find that online with the other teams' schedules. So, but our home opener hasn't been announced anywhere yet. We'll go ahead and announce that here tonight. That is going to be November 19th. So November 19th, we'll play at home. We're going to play Northern New Mexico to get started. So just looking at the past, there's been some times where you guys, there hasn't been a lot of home games here until January, and I really want to, we have 14 home games that are going to be announced on our schedule. We're really excited about that. I think that's the most in, I believe, 11 years, and that was something that's really important to me. I want to give our fans more opportunity to, see us play, and I also want to give our players more opportunity to play in front of their home crowd, and I just think that's a better recipe for success. And it's not easy to do to get teams scheduled to come to Portales, but we figured it out, and hopefully it'll be a schedule that we'll release probably next week that people will be excited about.
And they heard it here first. So.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, best of luck. I can't wait to see you guys in action.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, that is going to wrap up our first interview segment. So what we'll do is we'll clear the set and we'll queue up a high school spotlight courtesy of Kiki and Andres right now.
Good evening and welcome back to High School Spotlight. I'm your co-host, Kitana Sapinga.
And I'm Andres Chavez. And tonight we're going to be bringing you volleyball coverage from the Portales High School Volleyball Tournament on Saturday. And Kitana, there were plenty of teams that came out that weekend.
Yes, but let's go ahead and look at the highlights between Clovis and Espanola Valley.
Espanola strikes first off a Clovis return. Number 11, Daphne Talamantes spikes it to the right corner between Wildcat defenders.
Sun Devils looking for another point, but instead finds a wall of Wildcats who deny the spike.
Number 14, Brandy Gurule sets up the ball for number 15, Alexis de Vargas, who grazes the net, keeping it away from Clovis.
Wildcats set up for a spike who is met by the Sun Devils, who deny the point and lead the first set 10-9.
Sun Devils back on the offensive. Number 3, Joni Martinez sets the ball for de Vargas, who again places the ball away from the Wildcats, securing another point.
The Wildcats continue fighting. After a spike from number 10, Robin Garcia, Clovis would save the point, exchanging volleys and securing the set by defensive stand from number 8, Giselle Petner, winning the first set 25-22.
Wildcats start the set on the offensive as number 11, Ella Hallett, sets up Petner for a spike to the top left corner.
Sun Devils responds back. Number 7, Roxanne De Leon lofts it away from Clovis, who could not return the volley. After a quick timeout, Clovis leads the second set 15-9.
With the Wildcats ready for the Sun Devils move, Hallett would set up number 18, Katie Ratledge, with a spike that de Vargas was not ready for.
Back at it again, Howalt sets up Ratledge for the spike. The Sun Devils were ready for the block, but were unable to send it back to Wildcat territory.
Espanola with the ball again, and again placing it in the right spot as De Leon sends it over out of Wildcat reach. They would not be able to win the second set as they fall short, 16-25.
Sun Devils looking for a comeback in the third set, starting with an ace from Garul.
Espanola keeping the point alive after a save from de Vargas, but it would not be enough as Howlett and Ratledge duo sets up another spike to de Vargas, who could not save it again.
Wildcats return to the Devils, where Martinez fakes out the Wildcats, lobbing it over instead of setting up a teammate, securing a point.
Sun Devils send the ball over, but get stopped at the net by number 13, Lucy Shreves, and number 3, Kaylin Jefferson.
Ratledge with the spike again, and de Vargas again ready to save the ball. After returning it to Clovis, number 14, Millie Ratledge lofts the ball over a Sun Devil defender as Wildcats score.
Back and forth they go. Sun Devils look to score the point as DeLeon spikes it over. But when Wildcats save the ball, Robin Garcia defends the net, winning the third set 25-19.
Wildcats come in the fourth set hungry as Millie Ratledge wins at the net against number 4, Mercedes Gonzalez.
Wildcats would be too much for the Sun Devils. After Millie Ratledge spikes it to Espanola, they would haul the ball back and set up Giselle Petner with an emphatic spike to the left corner, securing a victory for the Wildcats, winning the match in 4 sets.
That is all the highlights we have for you tonight. Before we throw it back to Doc, make sure to follow us on Instagram, follow our Twitter, like our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more photos, updates, and highlights. Once again, I'm your co-host, Kitana Sapinga.
And I'm Andres Chavez saying we'll see you next week.
Welcome back to Sportslook. Thanks to Andres and Kiki for that high school spotlight. And now we bring back into the set of Sportslook the head coach of Greyhound women's basketball, Megan De Los Reyes. And Coach, is it still kind of a blur, or are you kind of settled into the fact that you're a Division II head coach now?
Right. I think I didn't have time for it to be too much of a blur. You had to get yourself settled right away. So fortunately, I was able to get here right before school started, was able to get my feet wet and get some office work done and scheduling and finish out recruiting. And then thankfully, I was here for the first day of school when the athletes got started and got to welcome them and get them into their classes and feeling good about their academics. And we started right when we could with preseason workouts, and we've been working ever since. So I feel like we've got a real good groove going now, and it's just really exciting for the start of the year coming in less than 3 weeks.
And I thought it was an interesting analogy that you used about getting your feet wet, because literally as part of your workouts, you do have them get their feet wet.
We do. We try to keep workouts interesting. We like to be flexible, and we like to be able to handle different things that come at us, different adversities, different challenges, and they've handled every one really, really well. They've been knocking them out of the park. Yeah, we just came from pool workouts over at the natatorium. Is that what you call it there on campus? But fortunately, they let us use that space, and we had I like to keep it fun too, and competitive at the same time. So we had a fun and competitive pool workout just now after practice.
We talked about the fact when we had you on to begin with that you did have a good nucleus coming back and didn't have many open spots. From what I understand, you did fill them. So who are the new girls coming in?
We did. So in August, we brought in 3 newcomers. One is a Division I transfer from SEMO, so Southeast Missouri State. So Ayanna McCurdy is her name. She's a 5'9". Gosh, she's a versatile player. So she could play anywhere from the 1 through the 4. Great athlete. She can really move. She can really jump. She's probably the quickest girl we have on our team currently, but people are giving her a run for her money lately, which is great. So she's a real threat from the wing and a really good defender. So she's a great long wing player. And then we have a freshman that's actually local. She's from Clovis. So right up the road, which is great. We love to have local players here. So Hannah Nussbaumer is her name. She's a 6-foot wing/forward. So she's going to play a little bit of both for us. We do have a little bit more size that's going to play the center position, which she's used to. But we're shifting her over just a little bit. And again, expanding her versatility. She can play out there on the perimeter, and she is a persistent player. She just keeps going, and she's fearless. So love having Hannah. And then lastly, we have a freshman who's a true point guard, really great facilitator, came from Oregon, so South Medford High School in Oregon, which just won the state championship this past year. So that girl knows how to win. She's a great competitor. She really has great court vision, quick, and I think she's really, really going to help us out too. So I'm so proud of the 3 that came late, trusted us, jumped right in, and gosh, they just fit so smoothly right into the lineup.
Well, that's an amazing. My best friend, who is best man at my wedding, and I was best man at his wedding, he lives in Medford, Oregon now. So I'll
Oh,
have to get the scouting report.
yes,
Yeah,
definitely. Small world.
it
That's
is
awesome.
amazing. It is amazing. Well, Coach, looking at the 9 players that you did have coming back, who have emerged as your team leaders?
That's a great question. You know, I feel like a number of them lead in their own way, and it's all different. So we have some really great post players coming back in Mimi Ammond, and we have Kamira Decker, and we have Alexis, who nobody's seen 2 of those 3 yet. So all 3 of those post players, man, are they a force inside? We have some great size, great strength, and the trick with them is they are still mobile even with their size, which is great for our transition game. So they've been really dominant on the boards. They've done a great job of welcoming in the freshmen and showing them how to bang and be physical down there, college level. And so those 3 have been really great. We have Natalie, who is returning for us. I'm sure a few of you know she's a real sharpshooter from the outside. And she's taken on quite a bit of leadership as well, just showing how things are done on the perimeter and how hard you have to work to compete at this level. She had a redshirt year and then did get to play in the 1920 season. So she's another one that's seen the floor in the Lone Star Conference and can really help our guards with what it takes to compete.
So you think you know things when you become a head coach, and then you
realize you don't know anything.
Yes. So what's been the biggest teachable moment for you?
You know, you always have to be making decisions. Every day, it seems like every other minute you're making some type of decision. And it's great. It's awesome. It makes me be decisive and really know what we want to get out of every day, and even just live in the present moment, which I always am teaching my kids. I have to do that myself. Being in the present moment, ready to make decisions, and just being confident with where we're going with this program, and it's been great.
So what have you actually been able to do with your players, and when do you actually get to practice 5 days a week, the full squad?
Yes. So great question. We have been able to do 4 hours of basketball every week and 4 hours of strength and conditioning. So today we started with our basketball, and then we went to the pool for our strength and conditioning workout. We also work with Joe Kripp, who was our strength and conditioning coach the other days of the week, which has been great. So we have those 8 hours right now. That's what the NCAA allows us to do. Wish we had more. But we have our eyes on October 15th because that is the first day of practice. And then we're allowed to have our longer practices and practice 6 days a week. And we just can't wait to do that.
And from what I understand in an off-microphone conversation with you, the schedule is still a little bit in a state of flux, but if you had to kind of make an educated guess, when's the first time you're going to be playing somebody with different colored jerseys?
Well, good question. And we do have just a couple things pending that should any day now have signatures and be signed off so we can release that schedule. We can't wait to do that because we have some great preseason games coming up, a couple tournaments. I can tell you it'll probably be the end of October. We'll start with some exhibition games. We have 2 at least, possibly 3 exhibition games at the end of October.
Wow, right on. So not very long off in the future.
Not at all. Might be a month, maybe even less.
Yeah. Looking at the Lone Star Conference 2 years ago, last time we played, there were pods. From what I understand, that's in kind of a state of flux, and we're not really sure about some of the details.
It's a little bit of a state of flux. We're not sure the details quite yet. Our schedule looks to be posted and ready to go. That hasn't changed in the last month or so. What has had the flux is the preseason games. But in terms of the pods, we're not sure quite yet. What it looks like in terms of our pod, especially because last year we didn't get to play in the Lone Star Conference and the others did. I know there was an adjustment the year before that as well. So we will get back to you on that, Doc.
Okay. Looking at the limited time that you've been able to work with your young ladies and thinking about offense, defense, rebounding, passing.
Yep.
What aspect of the game are you most pleased with? What's the area that still needs a little work?
Well, we focus a lot defensively right now. We're not too worried about installing our offensive sets quite yet. That's going to come down the road. But what I've been so happy with is their competitive spirit. They're coming in, they're really playing with a lot of heart, and that goes to every aspect of the game. So if we bring that, and then we install defense, and then we install our rebounding, and we install our passing, and we install our offense, it goes across all areas. So the fact that they're competing is probably what I'm most proud of. And then just defensively, they are just sponges. They are ready to learn. They want to get better. And gosh, in these past 5.5 weeks, I can't tell you how much improvement we've seen. It's been amazing.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck. Can't wait to broadcast your games. And I'm sure you'll be ready when that first ball gets thrown up in the air.
Oh, we will. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up the interview segment of Sportslook. So what we'll do is we'll clear the set, and I'll finish up with an overtime right now. I didn't have a very good record as the head coach on either the 8th grade level or the junior varsity level when I coached in Vinton, Iowa back in the day. But I did win the last game I ever coached when my boys managed to pull one out against Hudson High School back in the fall of 1983. Although I didn't know it at the time, when we hired Roy Kebb 4 years ago to be my colleague in the history department, it turned out that Roy had been on that Hudson team. And when I found that out a few weeks ago, I gave Roy a little good-natured ribbing, and he looked at me and said, "Yeah, if they'd given me the ball more in the fourth quarter, we would have beat you." Well, I didn't have a good retort at the time, and unfortunately, I will never get a chance to retort that remark because, unfortunately, my good friend Roy passed away on Monday. So to my good friend Roy, who got a degree from the University of Northern Iowa, where his wife got a degree, where my wife got a degree, and where I got a degree, I say to you, Roy, hail thee, Panthers, we are ever loyal. Well, that is going to wrap up an overtime, and that will wrap up an episode of Sportslook. I'd like to thank my guests, Brent Owen and Megan De Los Reyes. I'd like to thank Kiki and Andres for the high school spotlight. My floor crew, superb as always, with Mr. Zach as my director. So, for those aforementioned people, this is Doc Elder saying, so long.